A Christmas Story may look like a warm, innocent snapshot of childhood in the 1,940 seconds, all snowflakes, BB guns, and fragile leg lamps. But behind the nostalgic glow lies a chaotic production full of accidents, improvisation, unexpected casting battles, and one director who fought every studio executive to keep his strange little film alive. Today it's considered the definitive holiday movie, played on loop every December. But back in 1983, almost no one believed in it. And the story of how it was made is far stranger, funnier, and more chaotic than anything Ralphie ever experienced. Here are 20 extraordinary secrets behind the film that almost didn't survive long enough to become a Christmas legend. Number 1. The studio thought the script was too weird to be a Christmas movie. When Bob Clark first pitched A Christmas Story, executives were baffled. The film didn't have angels, miracles, romance, or heartwarming carols. Instead, it had BB gun violence, a foul-mouthed kid, dogs stealing the Christmas turkey, and a lamp shaped like a sexy woman's leg. The studio called it too odd, too dark, and too cynical. They questioned whether audiences would even understand it. Clark pushed back. He argued that the film wasn't about holiday magic, it was about childhood honesty, the awkwardness, the disappointment, the longing, and the chaotic reality of family life. The studio reluctantly agreed to a modest budget, predicting it would be forgotten within months. Ironically, the movie they dismissed as too weird now defines Christmas for millions. And that wasn't the only unusual thing they got wrong, especially when it came to choosing the film's unforgettable narrator. Number 2. The narrator was so good the studio thought it was a professional impressionist. Gene Shepard, the real-life humorist who wrote the stories A Christmas Story was based on, recorded the film's narration himself. But when the studio heard early audio samples, they didn't believe it was him. His voice was so clear, so perfectly timed, so effortlessly nostalgic, they assumed a voice actor was impersonating him. Shepard's warm cadence became the soul of the movie, guiding the audience through Ralphie's inner world. But here's the twist. Shepard had never done voiceover work before. His pacing came from years of live radio storytelling, where he improvised monologues to audiences who adored him. Bob Clark insisted only Shepard could capture that wistful. Number 3. Peter Billingsley beat thousands of kids, but the director almost didn't choose him. Today, it's impossible to imagine anyone but Peter Billingsley as Ralphie. But during casting, the studio auditioned more than 8,000 children, searching for the perfect mix of innocence, stubbornness, and manic enthusiasm. Billingsley was a veteran of TV commercials, including the famous Hershey's Syrup Messy Marvin ads. Bob Clark initially hesitated. He didn't want a commercial kid headlining his film. But when Billingsley delivered Ralphie's breathless speech about wanting the Red Ryder BB gun, Clark instantly saw the spark he needed. Earnest desperation with a touch of over-the-top confidence. Even after choosing him, Clark tested Ralphie's BB gun monologue repeatedly, fine-tuning the rapid-fire delivery. Billingsley later said those rehearsals felt like training for a sprint, and sprinting became a recurring theme on set, especially during the chaos of filming the school scenes. Number 4. The school scenes were filmed in a real classroom filled with out-of-control kids. Instead of using studio sets, Bob Clark insisted on shooting the school scenes in a real classroom in Cleveland. That decision sounded authentic until the director realized the local kids were far rowdier than they expected. Many had never acted before. They talked during takes, made faces at the camera, and ignored the assistant director's instructions. Clark eventually turned the chaos into an advantage. He let the kids improvise reactions, resulting in some of the funniest background moments in the entire movie, especially during the Flick gets his tongue stuck to the pole scene. The authenticity of the children's behavior made Ralphie's world feel more real, more alive, and more chaotic than any studio-built set could have created. But chaos wasn't limited to the school. It followed the film crew to the neighborhood itself, especially when dogs got involved. Number 5. The Bumpus hounds were impossible to control and ruined multiple takes. The pack of dogs belonging to the Bumpus family, the ones who destroy the Christmas turkey, were a group of real, poorly trained hounds hired from a local animal shelter. They were friendly, but utterly uncontrollable. They barked at lights, knocked over equipment, tore through props, and once even ran off with a boom microphone. During the kitchen destruction scene, Bob Clark shouted directions while the dogs ignored every cue, causing continuous script rewrites to accommodate their unpredictable behavior. The chaos ended up looking hilariously genuine, which was exactly what Clark wanted. The only problem? The smell. Crew members joked that they had to fumigate the set every time the dogs arrived, yet their wildness became iconic, embodying the messy unpredictability of real family holidays. The film's animals weren't the only troublemakers on set, even the weather fought back. Number 6. The production chased snow across 2 cities just to keep the movie looking cold. Although A Christmas Story is set in a snowy Midwest winter, the production battled unpredictable weather. Cleveland provided snow for only the first week of shooting, then everything melted. Panic set in. A Christmas movie without snow was unthinkable. The crew rushed to Canada, where colder temperatures allowed them to film the snowball fights, nighttime exterior scenes, and the famous flagpole sequence. Later, when the snow disappeared again, the team created artificial snow from foam, soap, and crushed ice, which became dangerously slippery. Peter Billingsley once slid across an entire street because the fake snow was so slick. The result? A winter wonderland that looks seamless on camera. But behind the scenes, everyone was scrambling to chase or manufacture snow before spring arrived. But the snow wasn't the only thing that caused the cast physical discomfort, especially when it came to the infamous pink rabbit suit. Number 7. The pink bunny suit nearly overheated Ralphie during filming. The pink rabbit costume, a gift Ralphie hates with every fiber of his being, became one of the most memorable visuals in the movie. But what audiences don't realize is how unbearably hot the suit was. Built from thick plush material with minimal ventilation, it trapped heat and caused young Peter Billingsley to sweat so much he needed breaks between every take. He later joked that wearing it felt like being trapped inside a pink oven. The suit also restricted his movement, forcing him to walk stiffly, which accidentally enhanced the comedic awkwardness of the moment. To capture the perfect, disgusted facial expression, Bob Clark encouraged Billingsley to channel his genuine discomfort. The result was an authentic performance powered directly by heat and misery. But if Ralphie suffered in the bunny suit, the actor playing Flick faced something even more uncomfortable: the freezing flagpole scene. Number 8. The flagpole scene used a vacuum trick that really held Flick's tongue in place. One of the most unforgettable scenes in the movie is when Flick sticks his tongue to a frozen flagpole and instantly becomes stuck. Audiences still argue over whether the actor really stuck his tongue to metal. Here's the truth: the crew used a hidden suction tube inside the pole. When activated, it created gentle but firm suction that latched onto the actor's tongue. It wasn't dangerous, but it was uncomfortable, and it worked flawlessly. Scott Schwartz, who played Flick, later admitted that the suction was so strong he genuinely panicked during the first take, thinking his tongue was truly frozen. His real fear made the scene instantly authentic, his eyes wide and frantic. Teachers, students, and even some extras believed the stunt was real. After filming, Schwartz was given hot cocoa as a reward for surviving one of the most iconic childhood humiliation scenes in cinema history. But the flagpole wasn't the only practical effect pushing the limits of 1,980 seconds filmmaking. Number 9. The leg lamp was so fragile, the crew broke dozens of them. The Froggy Lay leg lamp, part sculpture, part joke, part symbol of absurd pride, became an instant icon, but on set, it was a nightmare. Each lamp was handmade, fragile, and prone to cracking. The crew broke so many that Bob Clark feared they would run out before filming finished. Whenever the lampshade tore or the legs snapped, the props team scrambled to glue pieces back together, often minutes before cameras rolled. The final version that appears in the movie is a Frankenstein combination of multiple lamps. When Darren McGavin, the old man, accidentally kicked one during a take, the fracture lines were so visible that the props department begged Clark not to do retakes. He kept the shot anyway. The lamp's fragility mirrored its role in the film. A ridiculous, delicate object treated with exaggerated reverence. And speaking of ridiculous, nothing beat the chaos of filming the Chinese restaurant finale. Number 10. The fa-ra-ra-ra-ra scene was almost entirely improvised. The closing scene at the Chinese restaurant, where the waiters sing fa-ra-ra-ra-ra instead of fa-la-la-la-la, is one of the film's most controversial and memorable moments. But here's the behind-the-scenes truth. The scene wasn't scripted that way. The real restaurant staff, the crew hired for the scene, weren't professional actors. When asked to sing "Deck the Halls," they struggled with the L sounds due to linguistic differences. Instead of forcing perfect pronunciation, Bob Clark leaned into the natural moment and encouraged them to keep singing as they normally would. Darren McGavin's laughter in the scene is completely genuine. He was cracking up at the unexpected delivery. The spontaneity turned an awkward moment into comedy gold. but the scene nearly never made it into the final cut because executives feared it was too risky. Clark fought to keep it, arguing that genuine laughter was the perfect way to end Ralphie's chaotic Christmas journey. He was right, and that improvised moment became one of the most quoted scenes in the entire film. As production moved deeper into winter and the film's strangest scenes came to life, the cast and crew found themselves navigating unpredictable weather, broken props, restless child actors, and a studio that still didn't believe their quirky little holiday movie could succeed. Yet within that chaos, something magical and unexpectedly timeless took shape. Forged from improvisation, accidents, and the raw honesty of childhood memory. Number 11. The BB gun scenes were so dangerous the crew had to hide real injuries. Ralphie's obsession with the Red Ryder BB gun drives the entire story, but filming those scenes turned out to be more dangerous than anyone predicted. Even though the production used weakened pellets and controlled air pressure, BB guns can still ricochet. During early tests, crew members discovered that pellets bounced unpredictably off metal props. One ricochet hit a lighting stand. Another grazed a grip's cheek. When filming began, Peter Billingsley wore protective goggles for rehearsals, but the goggles reflected studio lights too much to use on camera. Bob Clark removed them during real takes, then instructed the crew to carefully choreograph pellet angles. Even so, a pellet once rebounded off a tin sign and struck Billingsley just below the eye. The slight swelling was hidden with makeup. Clark later admitted, the BB gun wasn't supposed to be dangerous, but it really was. Life imitated art in the most ironic way possible, and the phrase, "you'll shoot your eye out," suddenly felt less like a joke and more like a warning. But real injuries weren't the only problem. Authentic reactions from the kids were equally unpredictable. Number 12. The kids' reactions were so real because Bob Clark used surprise takes constantly. One of the film's hidden strengths is how natural the kids' performances feel. Ralphie, Randy, Flick, Schwartz, they don't seem like actors. They seem like real kids caught in real childhood drama. That wasn't an accident. Bob Clark deliberately avoided telling children the exact reactions he wanted. Instead, he used surprise takes, revealing new instructions moments before the camera rolled. If he wanted confusion, he whispered a different direction to each child. If he wanted chaos, he changed the script without warning. During the scene where Ralphie beats up Scut Farkas, Clark quietly instructed Billingsley to let the anger spill out, but didn't tell the other kids what was happening. Their shocked reactions are genuine. Some even flinched because they thought the fight had gone off script. Clark believed childhood was unpredictable, messy, and sincere, so he built that authenticity into every scene, but sometimes his quest for realism led to unexpected emotional consequences, especially for one very young cast member. Number 13. Ian Petrella. Randy was so cold during filming. He nearly quit the movie. Ian Petrella, who played Ralphie's little brother Randy, was only 8 years old during filming, and he faced the harshest conditions of anyone on set. Many outdoor scenes were shot in freezing Canadian weather, often at night, with temperatures dropping well below zero. Petrella's thick snowsuit helped, but only briefly. After hours of standing in the cold, he shivered uncontrollably and struggled to deliver lines. During the "I can't put my arms down" scenes, he cried between takes, exhausted and freezing. Crew members wrapped him in blankets and set up portable heaters, but the conditions were brutal. At one point, Petrella told his parents he wanted to go home and quit the movie entirely. Bob Clark had to reassure him, adjusting the schedule to reduce his nighttime scenes. Ironically, the strain added authenticity to Randy's performance. His trembling voice, sluggish movements, and weary expressions weren't acting, they were real responses to freezing weather. But as difficult as the cold was, it couldn't compare to the emotional tension brewing behind the scenes between adults. Number 14. Darren McGavin and Bob Clark butted heads constantly but created magic together. Darren McGavin's performance as the old man is beloved, grumpy, stubborn, competitive, but ultimately tender-hearted. Yet behind the scenes, McGavin and director Bob Clark clashed repeatedly. McGavin thought the father should be a more dominant, confident figure, a classic 1940 seconds patriarch. Clark disagreed, insisting the father should feel overwhelmed by life, fragile beneath his bluster, secretly insecure, and filled with chaotic energy. Their arguments became legendary on set. McGavin pushed for nuance, Clark pushed for comedy. Big, loud, messy comedy. But something remarkable happened. The tension between the two visions created a layered performance both larger than life and deeply human. McGavin delivered irritation, affection, ego, jealousy, pride, and vulnerability in rapid swings, making the old man feel like someone audiences instantly recognized from their own families. Clark later admitted, "Our arguments made the character better." McGavin, years later, agreed. Their creative conflict brought emotional truth to the character and indirectly added power to the scene where the old man becomes Ralphie's unexpected hero on Christmas morning. Yet even that touching scene hit a bizarre production challenge. Number 15. The Christmas morning scene took so long to film the cast, lost track of what presents they opened. The warm, glowing Christmas morning sequence is the emotional climax of the movie. Ralphie's long-awaited joy, the old man's secret pride, and the family finally sharing a peaceful moment after days of chaos. But the beautiful scene was a nightmare to shoot. It required dozens of takes from multiple camera angles, repeating the gift opening process again and again. The problem? Continuity. Wrapping paper had to be reset, boxes reassembled, ribbons retied, ornaments repositioned. After hours of repetition, the actors lost track of which presents they had opened in which take. Billingsley later said he opened and reopened the same packages so many times he forgot what Ralphie was supposed to be excited about. Even Darren McGavin struggled, joking that he couldn't remember whether the bowling ball belonged to the Bumpuses or Santa. Bob Clark eventually filmed the entire sequence out of order, stitching together the most genuine reactions in the editing room. The warmth on-screen feels natural, effortless, but behind the scenes, it was a carefully constructed marathon of resets and retakes. And as production headed toward its final days, the film's most chaotic and risky moments still lay ahead. As filming entered its final weeks, the cast and crew were exhausted but strangely energized. What began as a small, quirky holiday film had grown into a chaotic, unpredictable adventure filled with improvisation, last-minute rewrites, broken props, weather disasters, and accidental brilliance. And in these final 5 behind-the-scenes facts, the truth becomes clear. This film wasn't just made, it was fought for, rescued, and stitched together through sheer determination and luck. Number 16. The department store scene was filmed in a real mall at night with real shoppers watching. The towering Santa throne, the scrambling elves, the screaming children, the swirling madness of Higbee's department store, none of it was built on a soundstage. Bob Clark insisted on using the actual Higbees in downtown Cleveland, and the store agreed on one condition: filming could only take place after closing, usually between midnight and 6 a.m. This meant child actors were working through the night, half asleep, punchy, and sometimes delirious. Many of the extras you see in the background weren't actors at all, they were real shoppers who refused to leave the store, fascinated by the filming. Some hid behind mannequins just to watch the production unfold. The exhaustion of the children added an authentic layer of chaos to the Santa scene. Peter Billingsley later admitted that his cranky, glazed look while climbing the giant mountain of fake snow was mostly because he wanted to go home and sleep. But the late-night madness didn't end with Santa. The most physically dangerous stunt was yet to come. Number 17. The slide scene was so fast the stunt team had to build safety nets to catch the actors. That iconic moment when Santa pushes Ralphie down the red slide with a giant boot, the one where Ralphie slides toward the camera with his arms flailing, was far more dangerous than it looked. The slide wasn't a prop. It was a full-sized, polished, custom-built metal chute coated with wax to make it faster for camera speed. Too fast. During early tests, stunt performers shot down the slide so violently they flew completely off the end, crashing into props and equipment. The crew eventually added padded mats and safety nets hidden just out of frame to catch the kids if they launched off the bottom. When it came time for Peter Billingsley to film his close-ups, he was terrified. Bob Clark stood beside the camera shouting encouragement. Billingsley slid, spun, and crashed exactly as the director hoped. His wide-eyed panic wasn't acting, it was real momentum and real fear. And as risky as the slide was, nothing prepared the cast for the chaos of shooting the film's final food disaster. Number 18. The Chinese restaurant scene nearly fell apart because the cast kept laughing for real. The fa-ra-ra-ra-ra finale, the moment where the family eats Christmas dinner at the Chinese restaurant, was meant to be simple. But the cast couldn't stop breaking character. The waiters' earnest singing, their big smiles, their genuine desire to help the family, all of it felt disarming and sweet, and Darren McGavin repeatedly broke into real laughter. Every time the waiters sang the first fa-ra-ra-ra-ra, McGavin's shoulders shook, the kids burst out laughing, and the entire table collapsed into chaos. Bob Clark refused to cut the scene. Instead, he embraced the honest laughter, filming take after take, until he captured a version where the characters could barely hold themselves together, but just enough to stay within the world of the movie. Ironically, the studio almost removed the scene, fearing it was too strange or too controversial, but Clark argued that it represented a perfect ending, a messy, imperfect family finding joy in an unexpected moment. And that joy was mirrored in the final scene. Ralphie filmed one that nearly didn't happen at all. Number 19. The final shot of Ralphie sleeping with the BB gun was added last minute after a studio argument. Originally, the movie ended with the Chinese restaurant scene fading to black, but the studio insisted that the film needed something more emotional, a quiet resolution centered on Ralphie. Bob Clark disagreed. He felt the ending was complete. They argued for days. Finally, during the last week of production, Clark shot a simple, serene moment. Ralphie sleeping in his bed, the BB gun tucked lovingly beside him, snow falling outside the window. It was peaceful, nostalgic, and emotionally satisfying, a perfect contrast to the chaos that came before. The shot took only a few minutes to film, but it became one of the most iconic images of the movie. To this day, fans don't realize that the final emotional note was created under pressure and added at the very last moment. And unbelievably, the studio still wasn't convinced the movie could succeed. Number 20. The film bombed on release, then became one of the most beloved Christmas films ever made. When A Christmas Story premiered in late 1983, it wasn't a hit. Critics liked it, but ticket sales were modest. Theaters replaced it with bigger holiday releases within weeks. Bob Clark felt defeated. He believed his little film had already disappeared into obscurity. But then something extraordinary happened. Cable networks began rerunning the movie during Christmas. More families discovered it every year. VHS and DVD releases exploded. The film's nostalgia, humor, and emotional honesty began spreading generation by generation. By the late 1990 seconds, the movie had transformed from a forgotten curiosity into a holiday phenomenon. In 1997, TNT launched the now famous 24-hour A Christmas Story marathon, instantly cementing the film as a cultural tradition. Today, millions of people can quote the movie line for line. The pink bunny suit, the leg lamp, the flagpole, the Red Ryder BB gun, all immortal. The film that once struggled to get made became one of the most iconic, cherished Christmas movies in the entire world. Sometimes a small, strange film made from chaos and sincerity becomes a legend simply because audiences recognize the truth inside it. Which behind-the-scenes secret surprised you the most? Tell us below. We'd love to hear your favorite holiday memories too. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a Christmas classic, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories from cinema's most magical films. And until next time, may your holidays be merry, bright, and free of flying BB guns.